The following program is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on 105.9 the FM KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Good morning, Central Valley. I am your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the most important hour of radio each week, here on 105.9 the FM KMJ. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing some rational thought to the crazy world, she's back, that we live in, and helping you to hear all sorts of crazy sounds in the studio this Sunday morning. As we, that's Kate rebuilding the Central Valley's housing and credit market as we speak, and the microphone. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusty advice and Kate on your team to do the heavy lifting. And that's exactly what you're going to hear every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on 105.9 the FM KMJ. Probably the only time in the last year and a half that the music has actually run out because we've had so much to say. So everybody's had their coffee, I'm assuming, this morning, and a 5-hour energy, and we're all good to go?
We moved a few buildings. I actually blame Johnny because my mic was not in the right spot.
Johnny.
You're supposed to
Wow. You know, last week you missed the accountability preaching, and today you're going to blame Johnny? Wowzers.
Hey,
sorry about that.
Hey, Johnny, you know what?
The
talent has become quite bossy. Yeah, big head.
No. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle. You know, when they start calling you talent, it's a problem.
It's a big problem. Sorry about that.
As always, it's a great way to start off the day. I mean, my gosh, I couldn't have written an intro any better than that.
Can we do it one more time just so they know what we're doing?
No, I'm not going to touch anything else.
No. As always, it's so good to have.
It's like a horror movie.
Is it really?
The noises in the background. It is. I'm just saying.
Oh, and you know what? It's only us that knows when we're listening to a show.
How bad it is?
Well, no.
Or how good it is? Or where that noise came from?
When
you did it again? You're banging.
When you re-listen to a show again and you hear all the different sounds in the studio.
You remember that time Johnny stood on his head and slapped his feet together?
Yeah, and the other time when he was the heavy breather and sounded like Darth Vader.
I was not here for either of those shows.
Darn, you missed it. It's good stuff.
As always, it's so good to have my special guest host, Michelle Pettis-Cavalli, in the studio. I'm hoping to dodge her criticisms today.
Wow.
On today's show. Michelle is a local realtor,
and we have a difference of opinion on a few things.
Just a couple.
It's good. Just a couple.
All right, it's already starting.
It's good for discussion.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. It's good for perspective.
And I took my gum out of my mouth now, so watch out. The mouth is ready to go.
You're free to start spewing, are you? Mm-hmm. Wow. We're also lucky to have our heavy mover in the studio, Kate Island from UBS Financial Services.
What a workout she gives herself.
Worst intro
ever.
If you could see, I think I'm even blushing a little bit.
If I wanted a heavy, I'd want it to be you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Michelle.
Well, the Real Estate Radio Network gives all three of us the opportunity to reach so many people efficiently for 1 full hour each and every week. We have your undivided attention. At least hopefully. Hopefully now we do. My gosh.
Right.
Our goal with the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth. We're trying to bring information to you about your local real estate market so we can literally help bring you
back home.
Perfect. Great job. That's the only part of the show this morning that hasn't gone awry.
I like it. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Most important part. Well, we want them to understand that we're going to help bring them back home. Let's take a look at today's show. What are the 6 home fixes that really aren't worth the money? Also, can you guess what the 5 worst housing markets are going to be in the U.S. in 2013? Don't guess yet, Kate. Don't guess yet.
Can I just guess that 3 of them are in California? At least 2.
No.
I can't guess?
No.
Or I'm wrong?
No. No, and no.
Really?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And have you ever wanted to know, or have you ever heard the term, what is a pocket listing?
I'm holding.
Yeah,
I know.
Thank you.
I'm not discussing it now.
What the IRS doesn't want you to know about audits.
That they're painful?
Well, I thought it was, they're painful, exactly.
I think they want you to know that.
If they come at you with a flashlight and a rubber glove, run the other direction.
Run.
Right?
Run.
Exactly.
Run.
And housing's big $1 trillion in student debt.
It's a big problem for housing.
It is a huge
It's going
problem.
to be a big problem for housing.
And Kate's going to weigh in on that. We also have Kate Island, as we mentioned, here in the studio for our Market Watch update. We're also going to take some listener questions today. We've got a couple really doozies. Make sure you stay with us. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Kate, Michelle, and myself share with you here on our show this morning, it all starts with one call. We really genuinely would love to hear from you. If you've got something that you're going through right at this time, it helps us to be able to share that information. Obviously, we'll change the names to protect the innocent, but helps us to be able to share your circumstances with other folks to help give them your perspective or share with them your perspective. Call us anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also check out our resources online. Go to our website. You can listen to past shows from the Real Estate Radio Network. You can also search for your new home at REO, FresnoHomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 Keywords.
Friend Valley White on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 Keywords.
KMJ, call Valley White.
To get connected to us anytime, to call into the show, during the show, after the show, anytime, we'd love to hurt
To hurt you? You're going to hurt me? Golly.
That's a Freudian slip.
Uh-huh.
Okay, maybe I would.
What's going on this morning?
Yeah,
It's been a wild ride
it's
already
spring.
today.
We've got all the pollen floating
my
around.
goodness.
You know how it makes you kind of fuzzy in the head.
do.
We heard us talk about Press 4. Press 4 is for all those times you're away from your computer and you'd like to have us share information about what we share on the show here. Just go to the website, Press 4. That's PRESS, the number 4.com, or go to your app store, whether it's Android or iPhone, and follow the easy setup instructions. And as soon as you've got that little orange cue ball with a 4 on it downloaded, we'll start sharing information with you at the touch of a button. Let's take a look at today's hot property. Well, today's hot properties are brought to you by Perfect Inspections. Or use Press 4 Keywords, Perfect Inspections, you can use Press 4 Keywords, Perfect Home Inspections, or call Jerry Schooley today at 352-6941. Again, that's 352-6941. Now, last weekend you had Jerry working, so do you have him working this weekend?
I got the most beautiful report from him yesterday.
Did you?
It is glorious.
Super clean, or?
It's a super clean house, so
Yeah.
it's really nice to get a clean one.
Yeah.
You know,
It makes everybody's jobs easier,
it
right?
does. It does. And we want the honest to God truth.
It's a vote of confidence for
Yeah.
that.
We backed out of an offer recently due to an inspection.
The findings
report.
on the home inspection
really?
report.
Oh, yeah. Happens. It
Yeah.
happens. But, it was an investment property, and there was just a little bit too much wrong with the house for the revamping we were planning to do on the property. We'll pull out based on Jerry's information at times.
Super.
But we would rather do that before the transaction gets any further.
Yeah.
Let's do it within our inspection period to be
Better to
done.
know up front.
Absolutely.
Well, today's hot property is 1725 West San Miguel Avenue, Fresno, California, 93711. Property is located on the major cross streets of the southeast corner of Barstow and West. Absolutely. This is a really gorgeous property. Someone had actually started renovations on the property. This 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,445 square foot home on an estate-sized lot, built in 1965, was appraised at $270,000. And it is eligible for FHA financing.
It doesn't have much of a repair escrow. It must be in good condition.
Repair escrow of $55, which means, you know what that is? That's carbon monoxide
detector.
detectors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's a requirement now when it wasn't.
Right,
they
right.
built it.
Yeah, this property also has a pool.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great for Fresno summers.
I'll tell you what, Bullard High, it's a great little property. Bidding deadline on this home, let's see, appraisal was done March 8th, so it was just recently.
The 12th?
Yeah, just recently appraised.
So the 12th?
Yeah, the 12th. Exactly. Bidding deadline is April 12th. Again, if you would like more information about today's hot property, give us a call anytime. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Or use Press 4 keyword.
KMJ Hot Property.
And we'll send you more information about this hot property right to your phone. Look for more hot properties each week right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. What did I do wrong?
Well, you looked like you weren't sure what the date was, so I was just trying to help you. I'm your partner in crime.
You are, and
I was trying to help you.
I'm very I tried to help you.
I tried to help you.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand,
yeah. What?
don't throw me under a bus.
I'm not.
All right.
Do we need to to get some counseling between you two?
If you separate us, we'll just not have any fun anymore.
What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, we're
I'm gonna
agitated
cry.
and overperked this morning.
We're at 1,019.
1,019 active listings in Fresno County.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. And roughly 25% of that inventory is traditional sales. So we had talked last week, possibly the death of the short sale as we know it. Yeah, interesting. Well, California markets are improving. Did you know that since the lowest point in the market over the last roughly 6 years, is it any wonder why housing permit starts has begun to improve and head back the other direction?
No,
pretty amazing.
Makes sense.
Bakersfield, California, recently saw a 12.1% increase in housing permit starts. Chico, 3.3%. Fresno, 4.0%. Pretty cool. Highest here, Riverside. Riverside was hit.
Well, so that would make sense then, right?
Yeah.
People have probably
21%.
gone in. Oh, really?
That's the numbers for Riverside. 21%
Wow.
increase. That's the increase
Right.
in
Pretty
building
amazing.
permits. Yeah, that's good.
And that's because
Construction
it got
is
hit
moving.
hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Prices were really low, so there's probably a lot of buying there, right?
What do you mean?
In the last year or so?
Our
right?
inventories are low, so more buying.
And so they need more houses built.
Correct.
Yeah.
And possibly a lot of, depending upon the area, a lot of finished lots sitting around.
Permitted, that are
that are finished. What do they call those? Blue top lots?
They call them platted
Platted?
lots.
Gotcha.
Mapped lots. Sorry,
Mapped
mapped.
lots. Yeah.
Mhm. Neighborhood
Santa
plots.
Rosa, 13.8%. That's a huge increase. So what are the 6 home fixes that aren't worth your money?
that aren't worth fixing.
Most folks, they'll use the old adage, well, you know what, we'll do it now. We'll pay for it now. And then we'll use our equity to pay for it. And then when it comes time for the home to sell, we'll get our money back for that gold-plated toilet. Right?
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
When we sell. What's a good example of a good, solid improvement? Well, if you're going to replace
I
your
put $10,000 on my roof. I'm not going to get my $10,000 back?
No.
Wow.
A master suite what's a bad one? A master suite edition that exceeds the average price of an American home. Yeah, that's not good.
Who's doing that?
Home office. They say home office
Is it a bad
remodels
one?
are a bad idea.
Because not everybody wants a home office.
Yeah.
And they said work-related rooms are not a good thing. People don't want to think about work when they're at home.
Most people.
Make
Thank
it a
you.
den, make it a
Right.
extra room,
Game
make it a
room.
bedroom, make it a game room,
Especially when
activity
it comes
room.
time for marketing. Exactly. Well, here's the 6 improvements that ranked dead last nationally when it comes to getting the renovation dollars back at resale. And yes, gold-plated toilet was the worst. I'm just telling you right now. In all seriousness. Home office remodel, as Michelle mentioned.
Yeah.
Not going to get any money out. Call it a bedroom.
Hope
a
you
bedroom.
make some.
Right.
You're not getting any out of
Right.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't put big old bookcases in there, or right? Something that
Don't overdo
where
because you ain't
can't-
getting it back. Is really what they say.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I loved the
Backup power generator.
that one. I loved.
Yeah, did you love that?
I loved that. I'm thinking, wow, really?
If you live in North Fork, or if
I
you
was
live
going to say that's like all those doomstayers.
Yeah, if you live in Waco, Texas, on a commune, you want to have your generator ready to go. But don't expect to get the money back when you sell that puppy.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
Yeah, potential buyers that look and see backup generator as one of the marketing remarks.
Comes with 6 bins of rice.
And
Again, a case of
Sorry.
bullets.
2 ton of non-perishable
And
food.
500 bullets. We only get 500.
Oh,
We
okay.
cannot go over 500. Isn't that the new law? They're trying to pass?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard
No
that.
bullets get with this. Just rice. You better learn how to spit quick.
Another edition that's not going to pay is a sunroom edition.
Sunroom.
That also makes
Well,
sense.
That's hot. That's really hot.
That's oh, wow. All right.
That was
Upscale. That was timely. Yeah.
was like
Upscale
that.
Master Edition.
Yeah.
I
really
like the
important.
downscale one myself, but
Yeah.
upscale.
So, what are they
Master
talking
Suite
about? Is it a
edition.
certain dollar amount, or are they saying
Well,
it's the
if you
type of
over
renovation
improve
you do?
the master suite or make the master
Where will the
suite
kids sleep?
bigger than what's standard or common for the actual area, there can be such a thing as you can over improve a property and call it the white elephant in the neighborhood and never ever get back what you paid as far as the improvement's concerned. In other words, have you ever heard, and I tell buyers this or homeowners this all the time, you do it for purely intrinsic value, meaning that it makes me feel good as opposed to, It's going to make a buyer feel good, and the buyer's going to understand coming in. Now, so this is why this house is priced $60,000 over
the two-headed shower and the jets in the bathtub, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't care.
At the end of the day, you still have to comp it to the neighborhood, right?
Correct.
So it's
Exactly.
I mean,
that's where he's saying over-improved.
Right.
Just
And
because you
it's
put
not
$30,000 into that puppy doesn't mean you're $30,000 over the neighbor.
Yeah, number 5, bathroom addition. Unless you're a hermit and you spend most of your time in your bathroom.
That's
heated toilet seat.
Include the bathroom. Hey, they have that at restaurants.
I mean, that's
here.
cool, but I see that
creepy.
that's not something that you would pay extra.
Yeah, exactly.
For.
You can get a whole lot of
that.
bang for your buck just with gingerbread, and I call gingerbread paint, finishes.
But if you want the toilet seat, Kate, we'll get it for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and an upscale garage addition. Well, I've got to park all my 14 vintage cars in the. Not going to add a whole lot of value as far as my property is concerned.
Have you seen what most people do with their garages?
I don't know what. You know what
I'm saying? Like it's for those people who actually keep a nice garage. I feel like you're a rare bunch.
Well, because you must have another piece of property somewhere that has all that junk that most people have.
Or you're one of the few that's really, really organized.
Hey, let me tell you, my old garage had a painted gray floor, white cabinets. You could have eaten off the floor.
Bless you.
I thought
you're one of the few.
It was sick.
It wasn't her
sick.
doing.
It wasn't her
That's what the deal. That's what she's getting at.
Okay.
And he had another piece of property. All that stuff went on.
Well, see, there you go.
He had a hiding place.
So with all the positive real estate numbers that we've seen, let's just start with California. Obviously, year over year, 14.1% increase as far as prices are concerned. And then let's take a look at nationally. Can you imagine that there still are markets out there, on average, that are bringing up the rear? What are the 5 worst housing markets for 2013?
I have one guess. It's my go-to.
Your go-to?
Detroit.
Yeah, you know what? I don't
think it even made the list, did it?
Number 5, worst market, New York City. Projected price change, 0.5%.
Because they didn't come down as much.
I was going to say they were already in the toilet.
Aren't they kind of like San Francisco? They're just
really
kind of like one of those bubbles that doesn't really.
You've run out of. You've run out of real estate. And
it's kind of surprising.
You're so packed in. Number 4 worst market, Cincinnati. Projected change in 2013, 0.4%. So Ohio, hard hit.
Manufacturing, yeah.
Number 3 worst market, and I find this interesting, St. Louis.
Really?
Expected price change or projected price change in 2013 is 0.09%. Median home price, home value shot up during the housing boom to $153,700 in February 2007, but tumbled nearly 19% over the next few years. Yeah.
This is a random question, but because of the shale boom, like for instance, just like the Bakken fields up in North Dakota, like we've heard stories.
And we did talk about that last week on the show.
Yeah, so we've heard stories though, like literally, like it's taking a lot of workers, and there are certain industries in those areas that are really booming. So could it be, St. Louis? I don't know exactly how close they are geographically, but is it like pulling people from? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like if you're pulling workers and there's not people moving there.
The evolution of the job industry is going to pull people across the country to different places. Correct.
Much better said that.
I just wanted to make sure that I nailed it for you, Kate.
You really drove it home there. Yikes.
Wow.
We talked about on last week's show that Williston, South Dakota is Williston, South Dakota or North Dakota? North Dakota.
I've never even heard of it.
That daily developers and folks are flying in to figure out what they've got to do to accommodate.
Yeah.
Because they have that huge drive of industry right now.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I really like Fresno to be one of those places.
Let's
where people are flying in every day trying
grilling.
to. Oh, wait. Yeah, that takes a commodity.
Yeah, number 2 worst market, Charlotte, North Carolina. I hear is a beautiful place.
Yeah,
but they're not changing prices much.
Former employee that used to work with Valleywide hails from Charlotte, North Dakota. Says it's amazing. Number 1 worst market, Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
Detroit is not on there.
The Windy City, baby.
Hey,
I'm
telling you right now, Detroit's got to be really close.
Don't you think?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Maybe there's no change at all, so they didn't make it to the list. I mean, really, truly, that's what I'm thinking, honestly.
Possible, I don't know.
Could be.
But you know what I find interesting in this article is that all of these cities, the median price range and the high price ranges are so much lower than California.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are.
Yeah, that's just a California.
It is
It's a California thing,
yeah,
right?
It's just so amazing.
Yeah. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that you hear on our show today, it all starts with one call, and that's a call from you. Give us a call anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that is 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website, check out our resources online. You can search for your new home at REO-FresnoHomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valley White on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valley White.
To call into the show anytime. During the show, after the show, we'd love to hear from you. Well, coming up, 4 real estate moves that have surprising tax implications. And what the IRS doesn't want you to know about audits. And in a hot market, should you bid first and then see the house later? Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate. Here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valley White help. Valley White Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free, 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valley White Homes to work for you. Valley White Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460. Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer, at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use Press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete's Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete's Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's seats, and then there's Pete's Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete's Seat. Online at petesseats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097, and take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, Michelle, I'm sure that you've heard the term in real estate, pocket listing.
Pocket knife?
No, pocket listing.
Oh, pocket listing.
Yeah.
Yep, I've heard it.
Yeah.
Seen them. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So what is a pocket listing, and is it legal?
They are legal.
Better yet, is it ethical?
Okay, don't bring... Which question you want answered? Yes.
Yes,
I'm
and
going to
yes.
say yes to everything. No, I mean, you don't... I'm not,
Well, first of all, what is it?
What is a pocket listing?
Yeah.
Pocket listing is a listing taken by an agent where a sign goes in the yard, or not even a sign necessarily goes in the yard, but it's a listing that is unbeknownst to the general public via the MLS.
So it's not published.
So the selling agent does not list this house publicly, essentially.
Correct.
Because why? What is this person's aim?
Well, I'll tell you what I think.
Okay,
because this
go ahead.
then becomes the ethical issue, and I think
you go ahead and tell me what you think. Let's talk about what you think, and then I'll tell you what I think.
First and foremost, if you're going to represent a seller in today's market, the market in and of itself, if you do all the things that you're supposed to do as far as a listing agent's concerned, you'll do all those things and the property will still sell. Even if you didn't do all of those things per se, the property's still going to move because inventory is so low. In today's market, you might get an agent that feels like they have an opportunity to take a listing and then conveniently forget to put it in the multiple listing service.
It's not a convenience. It's a choice. A pocket listing is a choose not to put in MLS.
Okay, correct.
So
you don't put it in Fresno, as an example, you don't put it in Fresno Multiple Listing Service.
You might put a sign in the yard.
Yeah. And then you're hoping that you put the sign in the yard on Friday and you have an open house on Sunday and you publicize it in the Fresno Bee, and that Monday morning you've got 4 offers because you've priced it right and you're going to move it, and you're hoping that you're going to be the agent that's going to represent the buyer as well. Because you want to, what's called, quote-unquote, double-ended.
Well, and I think for a typical resale property, that's what most people would construe.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're selling a home in that capacity, most people would construe it. I see it more often in business listings. I see it in bare land listings.
Okay.
And I see it in builder.
Gotcha.
And that would be because commercial, different animal.
Different
animal. It's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of times between different people in a certain industry that may come in and secure a buyer in that capacity because you're word of mouthing it.
Sure.
The other place I see it used is builder.
Okay.
You want control, so you don't list anything on the MLS.
So builder, subdivision.
Subdivision contractor. You own the land. You want to be the contractor, so you pocket list it.
Gotcha.
So there are brokers that are set up for those things that have partnerships with those builders for those. So those are the positive ways I see it used. But generally speaking, if you're talking a resale home to a resale home, you are absolutely right. It walks that line of ethics but even with builder, you tend to wonder, is that an ethical issue as well? You know, they've got their land.
Right, because
they've got the contractor they hired to build on the land. Now they've got their lender. Now they've got their agent. So who's pocketing all of the commissions for all of those entities?
And if we are representing the best interest of our seller, our job is to actively and, most importantly, openly market that property so that we are able to get, the very best and the very highest offer that we can for that property given current market conditions.
But I don't know anybody who would utilize a pocket listing unless it was at the request of the seller.
Thank you. And I totally agree. It has
to be at the request of the seller. I mean, it definitely has to be in their knowledge, but I don't know of many who do it without a seller requesting.
And what seller would honestly request that or be talked into it?
Because there's a good chance that you may not get the best bid because you're not seeing as many buyers.
It makes you wonder if there's something a little sketchy about the whole kit and caboodle.
Now, what about if you were if the selling agent, like if it was like a parent or some person, they were going to sell it to their niece or something, so you don't have to have
you don't have to have an agent. No, you can have a title officer handle the paperwork for that.
I'm handling a transaction very similar to that at the moment, where
that's interesting.
A parent is wanting to sell their property to their child. And it is very, very simple. You go to the title company and you specify, here's what I want the escrow instructions to say. The escrow instructions act as the purchase agreement between the buyer and the seller. Specify, you lay it all out. They execute, they agree to it, they sign it, you're done.
I'm just amazed that those things can go on. I guess if there's disclosures and the seller knows that that's what's going on, but it's there are still some rules in the financial industry too that I'm a little bit shocked that they still exist. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but every once in a while they'll come up and we're just like, why? And it's not so much in ours, like a lot in the insurance industry, I would say. Like where you're just like, how is that
in the best interest
illegal?
Of the consumer.
How is that something? I mean, I know you disclose everything and okay, but that's, for me, it's one of those things that's just in the gray. I just prefer to live in the black or live in the white.
And most of us do. I do believe most of us live in the black and white who are in this industry. Regardless of what the world thinks.
There's no point not to not. I mean, honestly, it's like you may make a couple extra bucks, but at the end of the day, when you're doing things that are, and I'm not saying specific to pocket listing, but I just feel like if you're acting kind of unethically, that'll catch up to you eventually.
It's I believe the whole karma thing. You reap what you sow, and that is not, I don't think, in the long run, going to reap something that's very positive.
I agree.
What were you going to say, Shel?
I was going to say something in regards to pocket listings. The times I've utilized pocket listings is when I'm going to a particular person that I know has that property because I have a buyer already wanting one, and so I'm more it's more part of my
your marketing strategy
to talk to that person who says, hey, if you have a property XYZ with this size, I have a client looking for that who's needing that. So
because
it's more
you were representing the buyer first?
I'm representing the buyer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's talk about student debt and the lag that student debt can have on our housing recovery.
Yes. I actually know some facts about some of the numbers and stuff with regards to the housing market. So UBS had actually put out a piece not too long ago just saying all the great things about the housing recovery, but then noting some of the risks. And one of the big risks was student loans. So how is that a risk for the housing market? The student loan market is, like you said, about $1 trillion now, which is the second largest debt market after housing.
After housing.
Here's the thing. People that are over the age of 35, there's typically home ownership percentage of north of 65%. Okay? So more people who are 35 and over are going to actually own their homes. The people who are under 35, there's a home ownership rate of somewhere between, I think, 35 to 38%. So in order to keep housing going, you need those people who are sub 35, once they hit 35, to be able to afford houses. You want more people buying houses. Problem is, with student loan, if you're 25 years old and you've just come out of school and you've got $100,000 of student loan debt and you're making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, good luck paying that back and qualifying. It does affect qualifications for loans. And the problem is also in bankruptcy. Student loan debt
cannot be
forgiven.
discharged.
Right.
And let's say, just by chance, not only did you go to school for 6 years, but you're also underemployed. You're either unemployed or underemployed, which means that based upon your chosen course of education, you're not working in the profession that you were
trained for.
That you were spending your money for, or borrowing your money, your student loan debt for.
Right. No, it's definitely a big issue. And then the other thing, kind of on another side of that, the other thing that we've seen a lot lately is older generations trying to help the younger generations and paying that off to the detriment of those older generations. I don't know that necessarily directly affects housing, but it certainly affects just the wealth that those people have. So the student loan debt issue is huge, and it's going to become a much bigger issue. Especially because jobs numbers aren't rapidly increasing, and like you said, the underemployed, our labor participation rate is like 63.5%, which is the lowest that it's been in years. So it's definitely a big issue. I mean, I think that it will take some time, obviously, because we're talking about like generations of people.
It'll snowball, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, is what we've seen in the news recently in terms of refinancing some of that student debt or lowering the interest rate percentages on that student rate debt, does it even come close as far as in terms of being a potential viable Band-Aid to help housing at all, or is that just something that we're hearing in the news that is really just fluff?
To be honest, I haven't seen so much activity there where I think it's making a difference. Some of those loans I don't really know that you can refinance, and especially if they're federally subsidized. Where are you going to refinance to? And also, I mean, I do think that, rates are low. We know they're going to go up, but it's likely going to be a while before they really start increasing. But once rates start increasing, where are you going to refinance to?
Right, sure. Yeah.
So I think that's just kind of a short-term, thing that's available to people at this point in time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Interesting stuff. Little did they know when they actually took out those stinking loans.
Well, what's the sad thing is the cost of higher education is not going down.
Right? It's like
oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, it's
newsflash.
By the way, and a lot of the times, even with the technical schools, which I'm a big believer that not everybody needs to go to a 4-year institution. Maybe not everybody even needs to go to college. Period. But like with the technical schools, a lot of the times, students will incur $40,000, $50,000 of debt for a job that might pay them $30,000 a year.
They're not doing the ROI.
No, exactly. Exactly. And it's like, I know the schools will set up, payment plans and entice you certain ways, but I don't know.
Education is just like any other industry. They're there to make a buck.
Absolutely.
So make sure you're referring to someone.
Well, maybe we should make students a protected class because they can't.
Oh, please. Don't get me
started.
Really? Don't go here with me.
Not today, Craig. Not today.
Oh, yeah.
We can't even joke about that today.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Wow. I had to say it because.
And then car owners. Let's make car owners a protected class.
Yeah, because.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I actually just recently heard all this kind of stuff about subprime loans for cars.
For automobiles.
Then what was it? I heard some commercial about you can get the title loans. And even if you owe money on your car. I was like, man, stop borrowing money.
Yep.
Stop it. Stop it. If you're having to put your car up as collateral, stop. And you owe money on it, and then whatever little bit of equity you might have in your car, you're trying to borrow against it. Come on.
You really upside down now.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take your house. We're going to take your car.
Oh, my gosh.
Like,
your boat, your wife, your dog.
Your wife, your kids.
Sounded like a country song.
I know. I thought she was going there. I had to go there.
Let's transition to 4 real estate moves that have surprising tax implications. Did you know that refinancing actually could potentially not be advantageous in terms of the standard deduction that you were to take, or the mortgage interest deduction that you would take? That nearly 30% of all homeowners annually do not take the mortgage interest deduction because the standard deduction is more than what they could. Isn't that interesting? So the total amount of interest that you paid on your mortgage for that year was not enough. What are you smiling for?
Well, I just think it's funny, and people wonder how we can reform tax law. Hello.
Yeah. Well, you're still.
How about you only get what you gave?
Right. Yeah.
Let's start with that.
Wait, I don't get more back?
No, not more than you paid.
I can't be a net taker on the system.
Yes,
I can't not pay taxes and then get tax credits back.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout. That doesn't make any sense.
I know. They'd
Come
never
on.
vote for it.
Come
Trust
on.
me.
But with the refi though, typically the reason people do it is because they want to lower their payment.
Correct.
Right, or take money out, I guess. But I think it's mostly to lower your
But they're
payment.
not going to gain tax advantage from lowering their payment because they're lowering the interest usually. They're lowering their interest
But that's what I'm saying, is I think most of the time the goal for people who are trying, I don't know, I think so. I would think.
6 years ago, it was
Stop
to take more
thinking
money
smart,
out.
Kate.
I will not apply logic.
Think like a
to the
consumer.
situation.
Come on now.
Okay.
Think like a consumer.
How about becoming a landlord? There's obvious tax advantages to becoming a landlord, but not if you end up having to pay capital gains
on the property that you
end up selling after you're a landlord.
Because you have to live in there 2 of the last 5 years, or else when you sell it, you don't get the deduction.
Correct.
Yes.
Now,
the other thing is, too, if you make, I found this out from my accountant, if you make over a certain amount of money, and I'm not going to say what it is because I can't remember the exact dollar amount.
I thought it was was it 2?
I thought it was like 150, but maybe it's higher than that. It could be higher. Again, I'm totally misquoting the number, I'm certain. But you actually don't get, like if you have rental properties, like everyone says, I get to write off the expenses.
Only for a certain time?
Yes, but only if you make under a certain dollar amount. If you make over a certain dollar amount, you actually don't get to write those off until you sell the property, and then you can deduct it. But to Craig's point, if you haven't lived there for 2 of the last 5 years, then you're going to pay capital gains. Right. It might be less, but it's something to consider if you are thinking about getting into the rental game.
Mm-hmm. Very good point. Very good point. I want to transition. In today's hot market here in Fresno County, here in a lot of markets in California as well as nationally, do you think it's prudent to bid first and see later?
In some cases, yes.
Yeah. Well, just real quick. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In multi-units, 1 to 4 units, it's very, very common. And, Kate, we had this conversation recently. In 1 to 4 units, it's real common that you'll see a property, it's listed, and it'll say subject to inspection. So all offers must be written to subject to inspection, meaning you're thinking of picking up a 4-plex. And they don't want to disturb the tenants in the property.
So you can't even get in to see it.
Can't even get in to see it
on it
until you
make an offer.
submit an
and your
offer.
bid has to be acceptable to the seller.
Oh.
Before they will let
So it's not like you can just throw a bid in there because you want to get in there.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
And not in today's market, especially as long as
that's good. Tenants' rights. I think that's
tenants
reasonable.
have you have 24 hours. You give them all notice 24 hours. They have to show they have to make it available.
Okay.
And that's a landlord-tenant thing. Mm-hmm. You can go in there for any reason if you give 24 hours notice within reason. I mean, I think there are times we are doing those generally, a few times periodically with regular resale homes.
Yeah.
There's a tenant in the home and they don't want to disturb the tenant, or the tenant is not being helpful. So instead of having 10 agents going in there 10 different times today, they are just saying offer based subject to inspection.
Subject to inspection, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Which is always
offer on a home without
for newer buyers. For newer buyers or first-time homers, they're like shaking in their boots.
Yeah.
And we try to say to them, you have 17 days from the time they accept your offer to inspect that property to see if you are still moving forward or not. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And in today's market,
don't be fearful. Get a good agent and don't be fearful.
There you go. And in today's market, with all the technology that we have at our fingertips.
Wowzers.
An offer may not be completely blind. If someone contacts me and says, I had this conversation this week with a selling agent, and the selling agent said, okay, so here's the deal. My client's coming in on Friday the bid deadline is Thursday night. Is there any way that I've got photos online of the property. I said, hey, I've got 34 photos of this property that I'd be so happy to send over that you could share with your client, that hopes that, and it was actually on the San Medell property, that they could actually get the opportunity to see the house without actually seeing the house. Yeah, in hopes that they're able to give them a pretty good feel. That way they don't miss an opportunity to bid on this particular home.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of resources online.
Mm-hmm.
And if push comes to shove, call the doggone agent. They've got to have photos of the property.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And, I would say also in a lot of instances, probably more photos than what they've published on MLS.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Some agents get, I think, a little either lazy and only upload 6 or 8 photos or something. An agent
it's a teaser. They give you one photo.
Yeah, we talked
we
about
want you to visit the property.
Talked about it before. They spend, 60% of their time looking at photos of the property.
The agent does?
Buyers.
Oh.
Buyers.
Not the details of the property.
Yeah, not the details, not
pictures.
the marketing remarks, not the stats on the property.
That makes sense.
60% of the time.
I believe that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, inspections by FaceTime. So what if you go and you take your, iPhone and you
now that's
point
funny
it at
to
the
me.
property and go, say they don't want to get the photos from me. They want to do it live.
There's
Are
an
people
article.
doing
Are you
that?
kidding me?
Yeah.
They bought a house from Taiwan? That's crazy.
Heck yeah.
That's the article we're talking about. There's a couple who actually bought a house off FaceTime while in Taiwan.
I think that's brilliant.
If you know the neighborhood, there's a difference between like buying a house, but then you're also buying the neighborhood. If you're not familiar with the area that you're buying, I would never do that.
Well,
So there you have a good agent that helps to make a recommendation. This, the property that we were speaking about earlier on San Medell, great neighborhood, great area. Personally, can't go wrong. So in that instance, you may need to, if you can't see the property,
right.
You may need to
FaceTime the property.
FaceTime the property.
So funny.
Hey, and let's FaceTime the neighborhood.
Nothing like a talking house, right?
That's right.
I had a buddy that I used to work with who rented his a Fresno property. He lived in Hanford, he and his wife. They rented their Fresno property to their college kids, 2 of their sons who were in college.
Oh, it happens all the time.
So they would call on the computer. They would get them on Skype.
Yeah.
And they'd say, walk around the house. And they'd have
So they can
the
see
boys
that
would
they're
have to
learning.
show what the kitchen looked like. Is it cleaned up? You need to do those dishes. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it was hysterical.
Oh, and that is when technology works for older generations.
There you go.
Right there.
You
That
take
is
it in there.
brilliant.
You
That
show
is
me that bathroom. Now,
brilliant.
you boys get in there and clean that bathroom. Yeah, they would just tell them. It was funny.
That's not acceptable to your mother.
Where did that cigarette butt come from? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was funny.
Who's that wearing the toga in the background?
Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that Kate, Michelle, and myself
How
share
to
with
set
you.
that computer up to spy your kids.
Michelle's really savvy on Skype, obviously. Call us anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. We'd love to hear from you. You can also go online. Watch past shows from the Real Estate Radio Network. You can
Watch them?
Yeah, you can watch them. Trust me, they're on YouTube. Don't
I'm going to go.
Don't
I'm
challenge
going
me
to watch.
this
I
morning.
can hear them, but I don't know
They're
how to
not
watch
that
them.
visually stimulating, but obviously the content is amazing.
Especially those shows with you, Kate.
With Kate, yeah.
Search for your new home at REOFresnoHomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 Keywords.
Friend Valley White on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 Keywords.
KMJ, call Valley White.
To call into the show anytime. Well, after the break, we're going to take some listener questions. Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping to redefine real estate here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valley White Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing investment property, let the experts at Valley White Homes help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Visit our website at reofresnohomes.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals of Valley White Homes to work for you. Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
Did you know that all the tickets you can buy on different websites come from the same place? Did you know that you can buy every ticket you need to any event in the country, the whole country, from Pete's Seats right here in Fresno? If that's the case, you need to call Pete's Seats. Any ticket, anytime. Sports, concerts, theater. Hey, there's seats, and then there's Pete's Seats. Premium tickets for all events, local, national, worldwide. Don't settle for a regular seat when you can get a really good Pete's Seat. Online at Pete'sSeats.net or simply 294-SEAT. That's 294-7328.
How much should I be saving? When can I retire? What can I do to ensure that my estate will be left in the hands of my family once I'm gone? Is my hard-earned money safe in today's markets?
With all the uncertainty in today's world, all of us at the Island Group know it is our job to provide answers to these questions. Walk with us, the Island Group at UBS Financial Services. Call me, Kate Island, at 559-248-4097. That's 559-248-4097, and take the first step in protecting your financial future.
All rights reserved. UBS Financial Services, Inc. is a subsidiary of UBS AG. Member SIPC.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, guys, Tim from Reedley asked, and this was really, really interesting, well, I'll get into the details. I'm considering refinancing my current mortgage that I have currently with Wells Fargo, and honestly, I receive 3 to 4 solicitations a week because his mortgage is actually owned by Fannie Mae.
Okay.
And qualifies under the Home Affordable Refinance Program and the version 2.0. They call that HARP 2.0. He says, I'm not really sure what to do. He says, I've contacted Wells Fargo. I feel like I've gotten kind of messed around.
Not the right help.
Yeah, not the right help. What should I do? Well, the first thing is we need to do a competitive market analysis. So where's the property at in terms of the valuation? Secondarily, so what is the relationship between his current balance versus that current market?
Is he underwater?
Is he underwater? Really, truly. And come to find out, I pulled some stats. He's not underwater. He actually has equity. He had tried to sell his home about a year and a half ago, and had listed it about $180,000. Well, now it's worth about $250,000.
Wow.
And he's got equity in the property, and he owes about $220,000. Not a bad little deal. In other words, he's doing okay. So the next question is, how affordable is the payment to you? Well, he's paying a rate of 6.375. So is there room to be able to refinance? Right at the moment, he does not possess 20% equity to be able to refinance in a standard conventional loan so that he does not have to incur or pay private mortgage insurance on a monthly basis. So the downfall is that he doesn't have 20% equity yet. The great news is he's not underwater anymore, but how can we get his rate lower? So what we did is, based upon, we ran a couple different scenarios, and based upon a best case and worst case scenario, we were able to save him somewhere between $300 and $340 a month, just for the simple fact that we were able to get his interest rate.
Going from 6 3/8 to anything 4 or below, that has to be a huge savings.
Below 4%.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, with the Home Affordable Refinance Program, this is his primary residence. He doesn't own any other real estate. He's able to also, if his current loan does not have PMI, he doesn't have to have PMI on his new loan, regardless of loan to value. That's the upside for him.
Oh. Now, with HARP, though, don't you have to have purchased your house? Aren't there dates?
After
2009,
May 2009.
Right.
Something
After?
like that.
Yeah, I think it's after.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So so obviously he purchased the house after then. So if you've purchased your home after May of 2009 and you're not underwater, then and even if you don't have 20%, you can refinance and not have the PMI. Is that
After 2009.
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
That's a huge savings.
Yeah, huge savings. It's significant when you're talking about his existing payment is roughly $1,700, and we're able to get him down into the $1,300
Right. Well, and if you just calculate, like a lot of the times we'll look at how much interest are you paying over the life of the loan.
Right.
You know,
What's
versus
the
if you
difference?
refi or make an extra
How much
payment.
will
You know,
you
we
pay?
do those. Yeah. That's got to save thousands of dollars.
And that's where I say the numbers don't lie.
Tens of thousands.
Because the numbers won't lie when it comes right down to it. You multiply it out over time, and it'll tell you.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, I'm going to pay $30,000 more in interest, okay, or in payments over the life of the loan. Even if I don't plan on staying there, you can't say, what if I don't? You have to multiply it out and let the numbers speak for themselves.
You have to have something to compare apples to apples.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Now, Mike from Fresno, Michelle, this one's for you. How often should my agent be available to me if I'm a buyer?
Mm-hmm.
And what should my expectations be?
Well, the first question I have,
Yeah.
Are you a buyer and have an agent who works exclusively for you, or are you calling on a sign?
Okay. So
those are two different types of buyers.
And important to
evaluate,
yeah.
Correct. Because if you are a person calling on a sign, be aware, no one is committed to you per se. They're committed to selling that house, but they're not committed to you, the individual. So not because they don't want to be, but because they haven't necessarily had the opportunity, or we haven't had that opportunity to decide if that's a good working relationship.
Sure.
So the other issue, if you're my client, I'm going to be available to you generally daily. Every day we may be in correspondence, in email, in phone calls, in text messages. It may be me telling you I'm not available on a particular time, or et cetera. But nonetheless, if you are a client, not a caller, there's a difference. Then I would expect your agent's generally going to let you know what to expect. So the days, the times they're available. If you're not sure, ask for clarity. But generally, most agents who are actively showing property are, if they have 5, 6, 10 buyers they're working with, those buyers have access to them daily.
Right.
From the time they start working together.
If you have obviously you have several clients at a time who literally are they're like, you're my agent, we're going to look for houses.
Right.
But you know that as far as the seriousness of those people really wanting to buy a house, do you prioritize them then? And like to those people who you say, I know that these people are extremely serious, they're ready to buy a house. You'll give them priority versus someone who
not necessarily priority. I'm going to allot more time to that buyer that I know is ready to write a check and sign a contract today.
Okay.
So more time potentially to that person.
Right.
Because I know what the time preference is behind them.
Right.
Now, if it's somebody who's a looky-looer, I might ask them to go look at the properties. Go drive the neighborhoods first before we ever go look. Now, in this market, sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. If you go look at the house and you have time to drive that house, it may be gone before you get the chance to look on the inside.
Right.
So it really depends on the importance and the urgency of that buyer as to which direction we're going to go.
But in this case, I mean, I'm in sales, and I understand sometimes people call them, I don't want to say waste your time, but kind of waste your time. Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's nice for people, if you do hire a real estate agent, that you need to also let them know what kind of a buyer you are.
Yes.
Because I don't think that's really fair if you ask somebody to kind of jump through hoops to show you houses, and in the back of your mind that you're not really serious.
Right.
To me, I think that's
disrespectful
and disrespectful
it is
of their
disrespectful
time,
because that's their livelihood, that's their income. So if you're not
Exactly.
going to commit to them, don't waste their time.
That's also part of the conversation that you have up front, I believe, in terms of setting expectations. When you sit down with a buyer, first question, or let's say you're talking to a buyer on the phone first time, and the first question is, are you working with another, or have you been working with another real estate agent? Because we want to be respectful of that relationship. Number 2, have you been pre-approved? If you haven't been pre-approved, we need to set up a time to bring you into the office to get you pre-approved.
That would be a huge time waster.
Then you get the opportunity to really develop some rapport and hopefully, most importantly, some trust with that consumer, and have that conversation where you're able to delineate, so how quickly are you folks looking at buying? Have you saved enough cash based upon the estimates that we've done for you in order to pull the trigger on this transaction, or do you really need more time? And once you've had that conversation, you're typically able to get a good feel. Now, once you get out in the field and you find properties and you get a sense of, are these folks, have they raised the bar a little too much? Are they a little too picky? Are they not picky enough? Are they just willing to put an offer in on the first thing that they see? You'll get that sense or that feeling from them as to what are the buy signs. And again, still catering to, the most important thing is we want to help bring you back home, most importantly.
Right.
And I had a client this week wanted to see a house in San Joaquin. And I said, and he's not a client, he's a caller. And I said, unfortunately, I'm not able to facilitate that. It's a $40,000 house. No offense. 3% commission is $1,200. How many times are we going to drive to San Joaquin? He needs to find an agent or the listing agent who handles that and handle it. No, and it was not disrespectful in any way. He and I had an open conversation about it. But it doesn't make dollars and cents for Fresno agents always to be running for a house.
And there is nothing wrong in suggesting that you contact the agent, the listing agent.
The listing agent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they already have a presence there. So it's, I
just think that both sides have to kind of set expectations because, again, maybe I'm sensitive to it because I am in sales. And it's not all the time. I think most people are respectful of it. But, just sometimes you get those people who just kind of treat you like your commodity, and it's like, hey, yes, I can do a lot of these things and not send you a bill for them. If I was sending you a bill every time you had me run, you might think twice about it, and just think about those. Just be cognizant, yes, and respectful of time. But on both ends.
On both ends. No, absolutely. Because I think it's important that that my friend Craig here takes some time off periodically, and his phone never stops ringing. So I would say.
Amen, and you are correct.
It's a respect thing, and I think it's okay to say, hey, clients, I've got to take a day off.
Right.
I need some downtime.
As long as
the way I'm able to do that, and I'm going to be very upfront and honest here, is that if I do need a little time off in the evening, as an example, Monday evening I took some time off so that I could spend it just with my wife and at home this last week watching the national championship game. And you know what?
Talk about that.
I know that's a whole. I didn't even bring it up.
Thank you.
The former University of Michigan grad.
I know it's terrible Monday.
Yeah, I took the evening off. I did not answer my phone. I shut down. And I said, I have appointments. If someone called and wanted to see a property that evening, unfortunately I do have two appointments out of the office this evening, and I won't be available. So that helps too when I need to be able to set some limitations.
Right.
Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage related questions or questions regarding the information that we all share with you on our show, give us a call, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can also go to our website at reofresnohomes.com to search for your new home, or just check out our resources. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valley White on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valley White.
To get connected to us anytime, we'd love to hear from you. Well, first, a special thank you to Miss Kate Island from UBS Financial Services.
Gosh, Kate, you come in like
that was not me.
Doing the heavy lifting again.
I have been sitting here quietly with my hands in my lap.
Kate, if they want to get a hold of you, 248-4097. 248-4097. Great job, kid.
Can you behave next time you come?
Special thank you to Michelle Pettis-Cavalli, also my special guest host. And Johnny, great job, buddy.
Thanks,
Thank you. Thank you for keeping us in check and under control. Our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market so we can help bring you
back home.
Don't forget to tune into the Real Estate Radio Network next Sunday from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on 105.9, the FM. KMJ, local news, local talk. Make it a great day, Central Valley, and we will see you next week.
The preceding program was paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.